take too long.
Hey, there's that sound.
This week in the news.
How long we had to twin this week in the news? People who make news and we can learn from the business lessons. This week's twin is, hey, Rel Del Muro. Thank you for the small business lesson. And the question always is?
Who is Del Muro? Who the heck is this guy? Or girl?
Well, Ray was born in Pasadena. Okay, local boy.
Around the corner.
His father was a fashion designer, and his mother managed a string of retail stores. So as Ray states in one interview we did recently, he said, you know what, I had no choice. I was meant to be a creative and be a technical guy at the same time. And as a child, Ray lived it. He loved to draw, and he loved to play with Lincoln Logs and Legos, and would make stuff with Lincoln Logs and Legos. And he was fascinated, even as a child, with the works of a Dutch artist named M.C. Escher. I never knew who M.C. Escher was. But what fascinated Ray was that M.C. Escher blended the best of geometry and art, you know, with the circles and the spirals and everything else. So, and Ray, as most young boys who were inquisitive, he would take whatever tools he could find, and he would take stuff apart and modify them. There was only one problem. He didn't know how to put them back together again. So they were always trying to find ways to put it back together. But when it was time to go to college, Ray didn't know what to do. Whether to pursue a degree in art because he loved creating stuff, or a degree in business. So he decided on a degree in business because he felt he would do his artwork in his spare time. And he chose Cal Poly's San Luis Obispo because they offered a major in, and I never heard of this major, called Industrial Technology, because it was a blend of both business and engineering, which he was a good engineer. His first job after college was as a manufacturing engineer for an aerospace company. A lot of kids did that. Ray was now in his late 20s, and he had worked for this aerospace company for 5 years, and he was on a fast track. He was asked to take a new position as Director of Manufacturing Technology for 16 plants worldwide. So he was doing. Ray was obviously really good at his job. He was single. He was living a block away from the ocean in Huntington Beach, again, right up the street here.
Wow.
And he was making lots of money. What better could there be in life, right? I mean, the beach boys and everything, he had the babes. But he wasn't satisfied. He said, you know what, I was called to do a lot, much more than this. And he was saving money to buy his house, and he said, screw it. He quit his job. And he took the money, his life savings, and he traveled the world for 1 year, visiting 39 cities in 21 countries, experiencing and learning and the art and the engineering and all the stuff that he was into. But you know what happens when you do that for a year? You run out of money. So he came back, and he took a job in Phoenix working on automated engineering, and he developed this great skill called Six Sigma something other. You're familiar with that, I'm sure.
Six Sigma, yeah.
Yes.
And that was his big thing.
So he's the one who developed that.
Well, no, he learned it. He did not. He wasn't developing. He learned it. But 3 months later, he said, baloney. He said, I'm still not satisfied. So he quit his job again. And he took a job as a bartender. And he said, I don't want to work for anybody anymore. So he took entrepreneurial classes at a local community college. Isn't that clever? A local community college. Okay. And it was as working at a bartender that he started appreciating empty wine bottles. Every wine bottle was different based on the vintner that they worked for. Every wine bottle had different colors, different thicknesses, different shapes, different, again, from an engineering perspective. And each wine bottle, he thought, had a story. So he bought a kit online, and he started transferring those wine bottles into glasses. You know how they cut them, and you have a glass? And he said, but back then, the glasses had sanded rims, so they weren't really, they were pretty, but they weren't functional because you couldn't drink from them, even though they were called glasses. So being, as he called himself, a closet engineer, he said, there's got to be a better way. He went back to his Legos and things. Right? And so Ray devised a way to melt the wine bottle rims so they became smooth and polished. And he was able to turn these empty wine bottle bottoms, okay, if you will, into drinking glasses, vases, planters, carafes, candle holders, and the works. He said, I got a company here. No more working for anybody else. And he started his first company called Refresh Glass. And that's what Refresh Glass does. They turn empty wine bottles, which, by the way, he gets from the local bars and restaurants in Phoenix area. It's really in Tempe, Phoenix area. He gets about $20,000 a month from the local places. And he turns those into works of functional art utility, drinking glass and so forth. And he's done quite well. To date, Refresher Glass has refreshed over 800,000 bottles of wine. Okay, on the way to their goal that he promotes on his website to 10 million bottles of wine. And Ray now has some very prestigious clients that are buying his wine bottle glasses. Ritz-Carlton, Hyatt, Wolfgang Puck. Okay. But it's his latest creative idea that caught my mind. And it's this idea that is having a major impact on the real estate business. Okay. As a closing gift to their clients, realtors now go to Refresh Glass, and they order a 4-pack of wine glasses with the owner's name etched in the glass, the owner of the new home. You tell me they're not going to use that when they're having friends over to their new house and so forth. But then he also makes a branded sleeve that goes around the glass with the realtor's brand on it. This keeps that realtor in the top of mind every time the new homeowner uses the upscale wine bottle glasses, because it has their name etched to it. And everyone they serve a drink to, guess what they see? The name Russo and also the name of Bentley Real Estate, if you will. Talk about owning real estate in the client's mind. So my small business lesson is, hey, any realtor can sell a house and then send flowers when the new owners move in, which is a very nice thing to do. But you know what happens when the flowers die? So does your marketing. Mm-hmm. Okay. Ray Del Muro offers realtors so much more for their marketing dollars. So my small business question is, what can you offer your clients to keep you at the top of their mind? And what can you offer your clients that keeps them at the top of the mind of their customers? And I am going to end with a quote from Maya Angelou, which I think is awesome. People easily forget what you say, easily, but they never forget how you made them feel. Ray Del Muro helps his realtor clients help their clients feel really special because he gave them glasses you can get nowhere else, etched with their name on them to serve their guests a drink. And gentlemen, that's my twin for this week about Ray Del Muro.
That opens up the whole thinking of things we could purchase. I mean, InfoCard could buy a set of those glasses, with my client's name etched in the darn thing.
Right.
Doesn't have to be a realtor.
Yeah.
Right. And anybody that you want to leave a lasting impression and something that they'll remember you. Again, it's called real estate. Your info card, I still have it in my drawer. I throw business cards away, but I still have yours.
Right.
And you own that real estate on my desk.
Yeah.
In my drawer, right?
Well, I'm going to look them up. I'm going to look them up and see what that costs because, you get some good clients and it's certainly worth it to have something like that done.
Sure.
Yeah. And what's nice is that it'd be easy to say, hey, Seringa Realty, and give it to them. Then I say, oh, crap. It's one of those glasses that, you used to get it we're old enough. Remember gas stations used to give away glasses?
Yep.
But he puts the client's last name etched.
Right.
Makes it just
priceless.
There you go. That's the term. Thank you.
It's priceless. And I could honestly see that etched up by their lips somewhere where they're picking it up, right? Down on the base, you could have your logo etched in the base.
Absolutely. There's so much, and not bad for a kid who didn't know what it was. What he wanted to be was his own boss. But he didn't know it at the time because he was making too much money, living in Huntington Beach, a block from the ocean, being single, making lots of money. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean,
He didn't have a good
called paradise.
Yeah, he didn't have a good mentor.
Now, again, oh, by the way, and how I heard about him, let me tell you how do I heard about him. He was on TV the other day, and that's why I thought it'd be good for you, and I never mentioned it. Why? He was very good at what he does. He's an engineer with a creative mind.
Well, do you have some wine bottles or corks you've been wanting to reuse, but you just don't know how? Up next, some very clever and interesting ways to reuse them, including keeping your plants fresh. We'll show you how when we come back. Well, if you have some leftover wine bottles and corks from all of those crazy holiday parties, don't toss them out because there's so many ways to reuse them. And to show us how, a few crafty ideas, I'm going to call him the craft king, Ray Del Muro, right? Because I'm the queen, you're the king. Get
nice.
it? Okay.
I like it.
Anyway, of Refresh Glass, welcome, and I love all of these great ideas.
Thank you so much.
Okay, but you're not a crafty guy originally. What were you earlier?
I was an engineer for an aerospace company.
Really? And instead of thinking about aerospace, you've been thinking about corks.
Right. I wanted to find a way to combine the passion of art and the structure of engineering to form something that helps the community at the same time.
You know what? This is a brilliant idea, Ray, and I'm gonna show everybody at home because you created a company based just on that. It's called Refresh Glass, and what you do is you not only recycle them, but you make them functional.
Absolutely. We make carafes, self-watering planters, and glasses in a few different sizes, in addition to some other decorative items.
Now, how does this self planter work? This is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I wanted to find a way to use the entire bottle. So this is the top half, invert them in the bottom half, and a string extends up into the soil, watering it for about up to 2 weeks.
This is a great idea. Great idea. Okay, and so you can just fill this up and let it go for, gosh, like you said, 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Some of the other ideas, besides recycling the glass, you're also recycling the corks, and these are really cool. What is that sphere down there?
This is a sphere that we got from a craft store that we just used a hot glue gun to put the corks on it to make a sphere ball.
So that is like a styrofoam ball under there?
Exactly.
Or, oh, okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a 4-inch ball.
Oh, okay. And this is a neat idea, making initials.
Yeah, this is fun. We made this for you this weekend for Sonoran Living. So these letters are commonly available at your local craft store.
Absolutely, and you just glue it right on there. And now you're reusing everything, even the labels.
Exactly.
And I see that you decoupaged a frame there with some
I did.
wine
Those are my
labels.
beautiful sisters, and so I wanted to find a creative way to decorate the frame.
I love this idea. Okay, here's yet one more idea. Trivets, and just a myriad of different sizes. And do you have to even some of them out, or?
You know what? Corks are they only come in about 2 or 3 different sizes, so I just picked a few that were all the same sizes to make it easier.
Okay, and you just use a simple hoop like this?
Yep.
That's the industrial look, and that's an
the ring
embroidery
clamp.
hoop.
It is.
Yeah.
It is all commonly available at your local store, and it couldn't be any easier to put together.
Okay, so you're going to show us real quick then how to make these. These are really super cute coasters. Okay, and we're just starting with a little piece of cork.
Right, and these are also available at the local craft store. They come in packages of 4. They're only a couple bucks.
Okay, so what do we do?
Okay, so what I've done is I've cut corks along the length, and I used 4 of them. Each coaster requires 4. And then we take our super glue that you could find at your hardware store or at your craft store, and then we start to place them in a pattern like so.
You're going to start right in the corner, in the edge,
I like to start in the corner because you're going to end up with small slivers on these 2 sides that we're going to cut off with our razor blade.
Oh, okay. And I like the fact, like on this one here, you have these 2 that match, but you can kind of mix them up, and you can do whatever you want, right?
Absolutely.
And then what you did afterwards is, after you put them all on, let's just lay them out real quick so you can kind of see, because what's going to happen is that you're going to have some room left over.
Exactly.
Like right here, this edge and then another edge. Because you don't want to cut more corks like in quarters, so what do you just trim it?
Exactly.
That is really cool.
So we take a straight edge like this, and then we just gently cut around the edges, and after the glue sets, you will have beautiful coasters for your home.
Now, this is a really neat, I bet your packaging is even recyclable, right?
Of course.
Okay, where can people find these?
We have our products at all 5 Whole Foods locations in the Valley, in
Okay.
addition to Practical Art, which is on Central and Camelback.
Because it really is art. It was just a really clever way of reusing wine bottles. So, Ray, thank you very much
Thank
for
you for having
sharing
me.
your ideas and good information. Of course, we have more information on SonoranLiving.com.
But he didn't know marketing. He didn't know sales. He didn't know bookkeeping. Didn't know operations. Didn't know this. Didn't know legal. He joined a CEO mentor group, monthly mentor group, to help people become his virtual advisory board. And that's how he came across my pick. And I said, well, that's why I look more into Radel Muro. There was so much more. I prefer talking about how he went from a kid to doing what he did, as opposed to being a guy who needs what we offer,
Right.
entrepreneurial help.
Yep.
No,
Yep.
But so that's how he crossed my desk, if you will, the desk in my mind. And I said, and when I looked into it, there's so much more than just a guy looking for CEO help. It's the guy who got to where he is today by realizing that he didn't want to work for somebody else.
Interesting. Dick?
Yeah, well, when you mentioned Six Sigma, I had nightmares flashback.
Nightmares? Not
Oh,
flashback,
man.
nightmares.
Unbelievable. I remember when when that became, you had to be Six Sigma to deal with the government and to deal with certain companies that was a requirement. And it was the most convoluted thing I've ever seen. And I was put in charge of trying to develop that in our company. And it was impossible. The paperwork was unbelievable. But there were certain companies, if you weren't Six Sigma, don't send a bid or don't send a sales guy. You had to be Six Sigma.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember those days well.
Yeah.
All right. Dick, you got some entrepreneurial
Yeah,
lessons?
I just got a little bit here.